It was promised as the future of air power. One airframe to do everything. Bomber, fighter, stealthy, penetrator, nuclear delivery system. The F-111 was an idea so ambitious that it read like a science fiction novel. But ideas meet reality in metal and fire. In Vietnam, that meeting turned violent, costly, and decisive. Pilots climbed into cockpits that still smelled of new aircraft and wondered if the jet would save them or kill them. In the 1960s, the Pentagon wanted simplification, one platform that could replace many. The logic was irresistible. Fewer airframes, fewer logistics, a modular force that could pivot from nuclear deterrence to tactical strike. The F-111's signature was variable geometry wings, swing wings, promising both low-speed handling and high-speed dash. It would carry advanced terrain-following radar to fly low at night, avoiding threats the enemy couldn't see. In design, it aimed to be everything at once. Ambition, however, carries weight. The more you pack into a single machine, the more brittle the promises become when systems are brand new, untested, and pushed under combat conditions. The F-111 was revolutionary on paper and problematic in practice. Engineers built systems that had never been flight-proven: moving wings, complex terrain following radar, novel engines. Weight crept up, cost ballooned, reliability lagged. The Navy, which had backed a carrier variant, withdrew. Budget fights and political pressure escalated. The Air Force left with an imperfect daughter of a dream. Had to decide cancel or commit. They committed, and commitment in the age of the Cold War meant one thing: sent it to the crucible of conflict. Vietnam became the F-111's test branch. The aircraft arrived in an environment it had never been optimized for: heat, humidity, corrosive salt air, and an enemy with evolving air defenses. The terrain-following radar and low-altitude tactics that had been promises on paper now needed to work under fire. They did, sometimes spectacularly, but the price was steep.
Year 6 is clear. Press. I'm out of here.
Engines choked in hot air. Avionics failed in humid conditions. Crews improvised new maintenance routines. Early missions exposed both the F-111's potential and its vulnerabilities. On paper, it could penetrate enemy airspace at treetop level and strike with surgical precision. In theater, the aircraft's tools and the people who maintained them had to learn fast. The cost of learning was lives and machines. Some losses were mechanical, engine systems, collapses of components under stress. Some were structural failures, born of an aircraft still finding itself. Each accident sparked investigations, redesigns, and a relentless pressure to fix what had been rushed into service. The war did not wait for perfect machines. The F-111 was required to evolve while bullets and shrapnel still fell. Mechanics and engineers worked around the clock. Field modifications became permanent updates. The aircraft that left the factory in the 1960s was not the same jet operating sorties months later. When the systems worked, the F-111 delivered an advantage no contemporary plane could match: speed and low altitude penetration. It could cross hostile territory at hundreds of knots, hugging the earth, arriving and departing before many defenses could track and react. This tactile surprise allowed attacks on high-value targets with unprecedented surgical effect. Those successful missions proved something vital. The concept of the deep penetration strike was viable. The F-111's success was not inevitable. It was earned through iteration, relentless troubleshooting, and a willingness to rebuild. Engineers applied hard lessons. Components were redesigned, cooling was improved, avionics were hardened against humidity and electromagnetic interface. Structural reinforcements addressed points of failure. Each improvement was a small revolution. A new part here, a software patch there, that together transformed the jet from a precarious prototype into a reliable strike platform. This was iterative survival engineering. The jet adapted, and in adapting, it changed the perception of what it could be. Tactics evolved with the jet. Planners learned to exploit speed and terrain masking. Missions were choreographed to use the F-111's ability to strike high-value targets under cover of darkness and weather. Doctrine shifted from relying on massed formations to precision. Standoff attacks where timing and navigation mattered as much as the weapons load. The F-111 taught planners new lessons about risk, surprise, and the necessity of pre-mission intelligence. The aircraft elevated surgical strike into a doctrinal tool, but only after years of hard-earned experience. Out of the fires of early combat, a different F-111 emerged, one that carried the lessons of war into peacetime modernization. The jet that once seemed too ambitious became the relentless iteration, a platform that could deliver precision strike capability on a scale few had imagined. Its lineage would influence later designs and the doctrine of low-level, high-speed penetration. The F-111 did not arrive perfect. It entered conflict fragmented and controversial. It was a machine of compromises and daring in Vietnam. It was tested, broken, fixed, and remade. Pilots who once feared its faults came to rely on its strengths. Engineers turned failure into capability. The F-111 did not simply survive, it matured, and in doing so, left a mark on air power that still echoes today.